Hi, Chance. I have scheduled you for Thursday, October 3rd at 9 a.m. You'll receive an SMS shortly with the appointment confirmation.
Hey everyone, it's Chance, and I'm back again with another video. This time, I have a tutorial as promised. Today, I'm going to be showing you exactly how I built an AI phone bot that automatically calls your prospects and your leads from a Google Sheets list, only transferring the call to you when a customer is actually interested. Did you know that only 28% of cold calls get answered? How do we waste less time on prospects who don't want to talk to you and spend more time on those who do? If you've ever had to make sales calls or cold calls, then you'd know that the vast majority of people either don't even pick up or say they don't want to talk to you. That leads to a lot of wasted time with you having to interact with people who don't care. Fortunately, today, I'm going to show you how I built an AI phone bot that auto dials your sales prospects and only involves you when someone's actually interested. Sound good? Best of all, I've built this with absolutely no code, and I'm going to show you how. But first things first, my name is Chance, and I, along with Vignesh and the rest of the team at Galen AI, are working on cutting-edge AI voice solutions for independent service-based businesses to stay competitive and lean. This includes businesses like doctors' offices, dentistry practices, law firms, and the like. So without further ado, let's get into it. So what exactly are we building today, and what are we going to use to build it with no code? We're going to be building a software system that calls each person from a leads list, pre-vets each lead for their readiness to call, and transfers them to a live agent if they're ready, and schedules an appointment if they're not. In terms of the platforms we're going to be using to build this voice bot, we're going to be using Zapier and Synthflow as the functional base of our phone bot, and integrate these two with Google Sheets, Slack, Twilio, and callee.com in order for you to control the bot and actually reach out to customers. I'm going to get on my laptop and let's get into the tutorial. Welcome to the tutorial section. I'm going to be teaching you now how to exactly build the AI outbound phone bot and auto dialer without any code. We're going to be using Zapier and Synthflow as the functional base of our phone bot, and we're going to integrate these two with Google Sheets, Slack, Twilio, and callee.com in order for you to actually control the bot, see what's happening, as well as actually contact customers with phone, email, and text. So in front of me, you can see this is the architecture diagram for what we're going to be building, and I'm just going to go over it very briefly. So the three big blocks are the three main actions we're going to be configuring. So as you can see, the two orange blocks are Zapier, and then the purple block is the Synthflow AI voice bot, the thing that's actually doing the calling and the voice stuff. So to go over it very briefly, this first block, basically you're going to type a trigger word into a Slack channel, and it's going to trigger this whole thing. Then it's going to make a call using the Synthflow AI bot. Depending on the result of the call, if the person doesn't answer, it's going to automatically trigger the next available caller. If the person does answer, it's going to pause and let you take notes after the call, and you're going to have to send the same trigger word again to start flow 1 again. That's basically an overview of what we're building. First, how do we get AI to talk to you on the phone? So no, we didn't pay one of our friends to kind of sound like a robot. We use Synthflow, which allows you to put in a prompt, basically specifically structured and formatted instructions in plain English to tell the AI voice agent what we're going to say or what it's supposed to say and what its objectives are during the call and stuff like that. So let's just log in. It's really easy to get started. You can just make an account with Google, but we already have an account and we're going to log in. So we're going to continue with Google, and we're going to sign into the one I made for this demo. There we go. One thing to call out here before we get started is that you actually need to have 2 paid subscriptions in order to make this whole bot. The first one is for Synthflow, and that's the basic testing tier. If you click up right here, you're going to start with like 15 minutes of time, but you can't do any integrations with that tier. You're going to have to buy the starter tier for $29, and that'll basically let you test the bot. It only gives you 50 minutes. It's like only good for testing. The second thing you need to have in order to do this is a Zapier Basics subscription, which is $20. You can get a trial and you don't have to pay anything if you cancel before, and that basically just lets you do some advanced functions on Zapier. Back to Synthflow. Going back to the pricing for a second. As you can see here, very, very expensive when you want to actually have an enterprise solution that you can either scale or just use for your business, if you do any sort of meaningful volume of calls, it's going to be very expensive. One call out here is if you want a custom built, cheaper solution, you can contact me and my team. But back to the demo. First, we're going to click on start from scratch to create the bot. We're going to be making an outbound caller, which means this bot is going to call other people rather than it being kind of like a help desk for inbound calls. So click outbound. Okay, so you see this entire menu, and we're going to have to do a bunch of stuff to make this work. We are going to name this Anna Pharmacy MTM caller. And just to go over the specific outbound calling use case we're going to be making this bot for, this is basically where pharmacies need to do something called an MTM call to their existing patients or any patients they have on a big list. And the point of these calls is a preventative care measure, which means they're going to call, make sure the patient is using their medications correctly, keeping up with their medications. The reason why they do this is because insurance companies will actually reimburse the pharmacy for making these calls because it's cheaper to reimburse the calls rather than reimbursing for medications or operations that come if patients don't use their medications correctly. So there's a bit of a profit incentive for these calls for pharmacies. So yeah, we're going to name this Anna MTM Pharmacy Caller. There we go. As you can see, it's using the GPT-4o model from OpenAI. This lets you talk to ChatGPT and lets ChatGPT answer phone calls. Let's see advanced settings. I think we're going to keep this all the same. We're going to add a custom greeting here. This information sheet is going to be available in the description. We're going to paste this in. And it's going to say this custom greeting right when it calls the lead or the client or the patient in this case. Now we're going to go to the prompt section here. And as you can see, Synthflow has given you a dummy prompt, but we're going to copy and paste our own prompt. And I'm going to go over this prompt very quickly for you guys. Prompt engineering is basically how you tell these AIs exactly what you want it to do, and it's going to execute based on your directions. We have a couple sections here. First is the role section. And in the role section, I've basically told the bot what qualities I want it to embody and what its role is specifically at its workplace, which in this case is a pharmacy. So you are Anna, a practical, friendly, understanding, very natural and human-sounding voice assistant at Advanced Health Pharmacy. You're calling patients one after another for their medications, right? Next is the task section. And in this task section, I've given the bot some information on the specific task that it's supposed to perform on its own, on how to handle voicemails, when to schedule a callback meeting, which is when the patient doesn't have time right now, and when to transfer the callee, or in this case, the patient to a live pharmacist. And that's when the patient will say, hey, I have time right now to call. Next is the script section. And in this section, I basically tell the bot exact phrases and where to lead the conversation for each of the possible conversation directions if the patient doesn't pick up, doesn't have time to talk, or they do have time to talk right now. So as you can see, there's exact quotes in there, stuff like that. Next is specifics. So in the specifics section, I give the AI bot more context on why it's performing the task it's performing and why the task is vital, as well as some general rules like syntax and don't hang up if you detect a voicemail. Next is the context section, where I give the bot some more information about the overall workflow past its involvements. When a patient gets transferred to a pharmacist, they're going to be on the call for like 15 to 45 minutes discussing their medications, and that the pharmacy gets reimbursed by insurance companies. Next is the example section. And in the example section, I use a prompt engineering technique called few-shot prompting, where I basically give the bot a couple examples of real conversations it might have and how it can handle them exactly. And that's basically going to tell the bot how it should handle various customer queries and situations. And it's going to give the bot a more structured way of going about solving these problems that might come up during conversation. And lastly, in the notes section, I double down on some details. And of course, this whole prompt will be in the Google Doc link for you guys to see. So let's copy and paste this in. And this is basically going to be I guess the AI model is the brain, and we're just giving it some learning stuff. Basically teaching a very smart baby how to talk and do its job. Now that the logic is done, we're going to go through a few actions and integrations we need to connect with Synthflow in order to transfer the caller and make appointments, where we basically have the bot transfer to a live representative when it's prompted to by the user or when conditions are met. So we're going to use the condition from this action that we already created for a test. Enter a phone number here. I'm going to enter mine so that it transfers to this phone later. And we're going to validate it. Boom, validated. We're going to copy and paste this instruction in. Turn on the background music. Give it some nice classical music. Initial message. This is going to be to the transferee. So we're going to say, you have a patient that wants to get on the MTM call. Perfect. We're going to save that. Now we're going to go back to assistant, open the assistant, and add this action back in. So go to call transfer, add, and add the one that we just added. I think it's that one. Now we're going to need to connect the actual phone number that we're going to use in order to have it call and text our patients or clients. So let's do that. So we're going to use something called Twilio right here. You can make an account. It's really easy. You can use Google, but I already have an account, so I'm just going to use that one. There we go. Sign in. I already have some phone numbers purchased, but I'm just going to show you how to do it real quick. Go to phone numbers, manage, and then buy number. And you can see a bunch of numbers here that you can buy. You can search by area code or by country, whatever you'd like. But for now, we're just going to use a number that we've already purchased. To integrate this with Synthflow, we're going to want to go to Synthflow. We're going to want to go to integrations and Twilio. I just disconnected it for the purposes of this tutorial. And we're just going to copy the account SID as well as the token in. So copy that account SID in, copy the authorization token in, and then save. Now that that's saved, Synthflow is going to have access to the phone numbers that we bought in Twilio. To actually have the bot be able to use the phone number, we have to go to deployment, and we're going to need to select one of the phone numbers. And I'm just going to select this one. There we go. Phone number's attached, and we're good to call. The last part that we need to integrate very quickly is the cal.com integration. What that is that's going to let the phone bot book meetings if the patient or client doesn't have time right now, and send them an email as well as text confirmation regarding that. I know that for me, the integration was already done, so I'm just going to show you how to do the integration. So we're going to disconnect it, and all we have to do is we have to go to cal.com, go to settings, and click on API keys. And here we're going to want to create a new API key and just name it, let's say, tutorial for MTM caller. Never expires. Save. We're going to copy this key and we're going to put it right here. Okay, so now that we're connected, we can go to the caller, the agent, and go to our actions. And now we can add the real-time booking in. Let's create that new action. Create. We're going to go to the event that we just created, and we're going to copy and paste this number in from the link right here and paste it into the cal event ID right here. Okay, seems like we're verified. Now we got to do some actions over here. We need to put in the email that you used for creating the cal.com account. In our case, I believe it's ahpharmacymtm@gmail.com. So copy and paste that in. Save. I think that's it. Okay. Awesome. Now we're going to add the real-time booking action in. And we're going to click into the action again. And we're going to turn on sending a confirmation SMS. So we're just going to leave it as the default role right now. I think that's fine. And we're going to change the time zone to America because that's where I am. Click save. And we're good. And there you go. Now the assistant is set up with a phone number as well as cal.com to make appointments and send out confirmation emails and texts for the appointments, as well as transfer the user to a live agent if needed. So let's test our phone bot. Here we can select one of the phone numbers that we bought with Twilio. Let's enter A name, choose a phone to call, and give it a patient name. So it's going to say this name during the call when appropriate. So yeah, it's going to call me. Let's test it. I'm going to pick up.
Do you have some time to talk about your medications?
No, I don't have time right now.
No problem. Would you prefer to schedule a call at another time?
Yeah, do you have time on Friday?
Sure. We have availability on Friday, October 4th at 9 a.m., 12 p.m., and 3 p.m. Which time works best for you?
3 p.m. works well, thanks.
Fantastic. I have scheduled you for Friday, October 4th at 3 p.m. You'll receive an SMS shortly with the appointment confirmation. Have a great day.
Thanks, you too. As you can see, our voice bot works, and now we can move on to the other steps of the complete phone system. Next, we're going to quickly set up Google Sheets and Slack. So as you can see here in the architecture diagram, we're going to use Google Sheets to look up active leads and to update the columns to tell whoever's using it, you or me or one of your staff, what the call status was, as well as share this transcript from the call. So all you got to do is go to sheets.google.com and create a new one right here. Of course, I already have a pre-created sheet, so I'm just going to share with you exactly the columns that you need. You're going to need the full name column, as well as the phone number column, which I've made really small so you can't see our phone numbers, and the status column, which is basically going to tell the phone bot if the person you're trying to call on the list meets the criteria for getting a call or not. And that's just going to be indicated by active right here. So basically, our system is going to pull the full name, the phone number, and the status in order to make a call. Next, we're going to create a Slack channel. So Slack is free. You can sign up. I already have a Slack channel for my team, and we're just going to create a new channel here. Create new channel. Let's say tutorial MTM caller. Hit next, and we're going to make it private. This is going to be important for later. Skip for now, and there you go. So in this Slack channel, we're basically going to be able to control the bot. Our trigger word to start the system is going to be ready in all caps, and we'll expound on exactly what you can do in the Slack channel later. Slack is basically a place where you can message your colleagues and teammates. It's a group messaging platform, and it integrates very nicely with Zapier, which is what I'll show you in a bit. And why are we using Slack, of course? It's not where we're going to argue with our coworkers. No, in this case, we're going to use Slack to let us give a command word to a bot to make a call. And for the bot to give us text feedback, as well as the bot to actually trigger itself again to make another call, as we've seen in the diagram right here. Now we're going to move on to the Zapier section of this whole system. So we've set up Google Sheets, we've set up Slack, we've set up Synthflow with cal.com to make appointments, and we've also set it up with Twilio so it can actually use a real phone number to call patients, clients, what have you, as well as text them. How are we going to tie this all together? We're going to use Zapier, which is a platform that handles integrations, APIs, infrastructure, and deployment for you without any technical experience, cloud setup, or even code. Basically, Zapier is kind of the beating heart of this entire system, as well as the blood vessels. It's gonna share data between all of our connected apps and make this whole thing go in motion. I already have an account, but you can sign up real quickly using, I think, a Google email, but I'm just gonna log in, continue, and we're just going to go here and create a new Zap. So every Zapier flow is started by a trigger, and we're going to go through both the flows that we're going to create today to give you an idea of exactly what we're going to build. The first flow is triggering the bot using Slack. Basically, whenever any message is posted in this Slack channel that we created in the previous step, it's going to trigger this action, and if it's a valid trigger message, which is basically a certain keyword that you either put in, which is ready in our case, or that the bot puts in to call itself again if no one picks up so that you don't have to manually read out a number, it's going to look up the first active status client or lead or patient on the Google Sheets list and pull the phone number and lead name and give it to Synthflow and start a call in Synthflow. So let's build that. We're going to trigger it using Slack. Go to trigger event and choose new message posted to channel. I guess I'll show you very quickly how to reconnect Slack. Go here, press connect to a new account, hit allow, and there you go. You connected Zapier to Slack. You're gonna hit continue, choose the channel that you just created, in our case tutorial, trigger for bot messages, yes, and then hit continue again. Now we're gonna test the trigger very quickly, and let's see. Okay, so it pulled a record. Yep, continue with selected record. So now let's go back to our architecture diagram to look at exactly what we need to do. So right here, we need to basically make a fork in the road where it handles two cases. If there's a valid trigger message or if there's an invalid trigger message. So let's make a path in Zap. And let's title this real quick. Rename tutorial outbound trigger by Slack. Perfect. Go to the action, click on paths by Zapier. And this is, again, a feature that's unique to the paid subscription, or I guess the free trial in this case, that you need to get before trying this tutorial yourself at home. And we're going to configure the two paths. So the first path, we're going to rename path A into valid trigger. And we're going to rename path B into invalid trigger message. Let's configure path A first. Let's go to path conditions, double click, and here you have it on the right hand side. Custom rules is good, and we're going to continue only if the user enters a correct trigger word, which in our case is ready in all caps. So let's do that first. Only continue if the text exactly matches ready, and if user is bot is false. We're gonna scroll all the way down and click is false. Next, we're gonna add an or, and this is gonna be the case where the bot gives its own special trigger word to call itself again when it gets a user that doesn't pick up the phone. We're gonna go here. It's already in this guide, and in this case, it's call not answered, calling next number in the list. So we're just gonna copy and paste this. Go back to here. Go to the text, choose condition, contains, and do calling next number in list. And we're gonna add an and condition just so that this specific trigger word is only valid when the bot messages that. So we can scroll back all the way, search bot, user is bot. In this case, is true. Let's see if it looks good. I think it looks good. So that's a condition for a valid trigger. Next, we're gonna set up the conditions for an invalid trigger message. And we're basically just gonna put if user is bot is false, choose condition, go all the way down, click is false again, and the text does not exactly match ready, which is the trigger word that the user has access to. Continue, test, and there you go. And yeah, the bot's not going to message anything else but the trigger words. Next, we're going to go to action, and we're going to configure the actions for the steps. So let's go back to our architecture diagram and see exactly what we need to do. So we've made these conditions, and now we need to configure all these actions. So let's configure this easy one first. Just sending a Slack message, the wrong input message. So click on action, click on Slack, and we're going to post a message in a channel notifying the user that they put in a wrong trigger word and reminding them what the right trigger word is. So send message, send private channel message. We're going to choose the tutorial channel. And here I have the message that we want to send. Input not recognized, say ready to start a call. Send it as a bot, yes. Bot name, we're just gonna name it MTM caller bot. Don't include a link to the Zap. You don't have to do that. And yeah, I think that should be good. So let's test the step. And let's see if that works. Okay, input not recognized, say ready to start call. So yeah, as you can see, Zapier just sent this message in our Slack channel that we created. Now we can make the actions for the other side of the flow. So first we're gonna need to integrate Google Sheets into Zapier, and we're gonna need to look up the first active status lead. So let's do that. Go back to Zapier, click action here, connect to Google Sheets, choose a lookup event. So we're gonna look up spreadsheet row, and we're gonna select an account. So I'm just gonna quickly connect a new account. If you're signed in with Google in your browser, you can just click on the account that you want. Hit allow. This now connects Zapier to Google Sheets. Now we're gonna configure, and we're gonna need to click on My Google Drive and then select the file that you want to read off of, which in this case is the patient information file. We're gonna click sheet 1 because we only have one worksheet in there, and we're going to look up by status, and we're gonna need to match exactly this, active. Now let's test it, and it should work. Yep, and we found an active status patient. Now let's go back to the architecture diagram and see what we need to build next. We need to create another paths here, one for if someone with an active status lead is found, and one with no active status leads. Click on the plus, and click the paths again. And we're gonna configure these path conditions. Let's rename this active status patient found. And let's rename path D as no active status patients. And we're gonna set the conditions once again. We click on lookup spreadsheet row, and we're gonna click on, it pulls in automatically the rows after you test it. And we're gonna pull in the status column here, choose condition, and we're gonna have exactly matches active. Hit continue, and that's the only path. So now that we have that condition done, we're gonna configure the no active status patients one. We're again going to choose lookup spreadsheet row for only continue if. Then we're gonna click on the column that we have the statuses in, so the status column. And then we're gonna have does not exactly match active. So yeah, let's test this one out. And now let's configure the actions for both of these. So going back to the architecture diagram, for the happy path where an active status lead was found, we need to pass the phone number and lead name into the Synthflow and start the call. So we're going to go to this action and search up Synthflow. And this is our AI voice bot. So we're going to create a call, and we're going to have to connect Synthflow, which I have connected, but we can manually connect it again. So here you need to get the API key from Synthflow and paste it into here. And this does again require the $29 trial or testing beginner package on Synthflow. And what we're gonna do here is we're gonna go to integrations, and we're gonna go to REST API, and then copy this key right here. Hit copy, go back to Zapier, and let's paste that in here. Yes, continue to Synthflow AI. And there you go. Now it's connected. So now it's gonna need the model ID from the Synthflow bot. We're gonna go back to Synthflow, go to assistants, open the assistant again, and here we're gonna copy the model ID. Paste that into this field, and then we're going to get the phone number. And this is the phone number you're gonna be calling. So we're gonna pull this from the Google Sheets row that we've looked up already. So go to the plus, click look up the spreadsheet row, and then click the phone number column, which corresponds to this phone number column right here. Next, we're also gonna pull the name from that row that we've searched up. We're gonna click on lookup spreadsheet row again, and we're gonna click on full name. So as you may have seen in our prompt section, we have this variable here named called patient name, and we actually have to specially pass that in. So how we do that is in custom variables here, we're going to click on full name again, hit add, and then we're going to configure this to be a dictionary. So patient underscore name, and we're going to have that be a dictionary entry, and that should be good. remove this item. There we go. We're going to make this time zone the US, Eastern. There we go. And we're going to copy and paste the entire prompt again. There we go. Continue. And let's just test the step real quick and it'll give me a call. So let's see. So it did give me a call, which means it's working. And we're just going to go to the other path, the no active status patients path, and we're going to give our user, either you or a member of your staff, some text feedback saying that, hey, you know, the trigger word that you put in is not the actual trigger word. So let's go copy and paste that in from the sheet. In this case, it's going to be no active status patients. List, do Slack again. This time we're going to do send private message, send private channel message, and we're going to click continue, go to the channels, click on the channel that you've just made in Slack to control the bot and have the bot give you feedback. Copy and paste the message text in, send as bot yes, bot name, we'll do MTM caller bot again. Don't include a link to the Zap. I think that's all good. You have a picture, a happy kitten, whatever you want. Let's see if it sends this message in the Slack channel. Okay, so it did send the message in the Slack channel, which means it's working. Now we've just completed the first Zapier flow. Flow 1 triggers the bot using Slack. We're going to create the second flow here. Hit create, hit new Zap, and name it whatever you want. In this case, tutorial outbound, trigger by Synthflow call ending. This time we're going to select the trigger as Synthflow. So we're going to search up Synthflow, and in the last Zap, you've already integrated Synthflow with Zapier, so you don't need to do it again. It's going to have it there. You're going to click phone call completed, which is the only trigger event you can select, and then select the same account that you selected in the last one. It should be named the same. Synthflow AI 1, 2, whatever it is. Click continue, go back to assistance, your Synthflow dashboard, and copy the model ID again. You're going to paste the model ID again in here, hit continue, and then test the trigger. And it should pull up some last phone call records that you can use to test it. So let's see. Yep. Okay, so this is the voicemail one that we did earlier. Yep, continue. And yeah, so that's the trigger. Let's see what the next steps are. So in Flow 2, now we have to use Google Sheets again. We're going to have to look up the active status, right? Because the status didn't change. If you look it up again from the top, it's going to find the same active status person as the last flow. So we're going to go here and we're going to look that row up. So again, look up spreadsheet row, do this account, continue, my Google Drive, spreadsheet. You're going to select the same one that we created and used in the last flow. Sheet 1, we're going to look up with status again, search with active, and that should work. Yep, okay, so it looked up the same row as last time, and now we're good. Now we're going to configure the other two Google Sheets actions, updating the status in the transcript column with whatever Synthflow gives us. We're going to go to Google Sheets and we're going to do update spreadsheet row. Click on the Google Drive, click on patient information file, sheet 1, and do the row that you've just searched up. Okay. Looks like we have to do this again. So we're just going to do that real quick. Patient information file, sheet 1. We're going to do status, lookup value is active, lookup supporting column none. That should be good. Test step real quickly. Continue. And see, yep. So ID is 2. That's row 2, which is the first row with an active status. And we're going to update status as the Synthflow status. So this trigger, which is the phone call ending, the Synthflow API will basically give Zapier some data about the call. So it's gonna, one of them is status. We're just gonna do that. Hung up on voicemail. We continue. Actually, let's try to do both of them at the same time. Update the status and update the transcript. So it updated the status in the transcript column, and so if the bot calls itself again, it's gonna go to the next active status step next time. So let's just delete this for testing purposes and go back to Zapier. Let's see what we need to do now. There are two flows here. One is if the bot is trying to call picks up, and the other one is if they don't pick up. Let's add another path here. We're gonna do paths by Zapier again. First path condition, so let's name these paths first. So first one is completed answered call. Path B, call not answered. Here we go. So for completed and answered call, the Synthflow bot is going to return completed. So we're going to go to status again, choose condition, exactly matches, completed in all lowercase. We're going to test it out. It should fail. Yep. And for call not answered, it's just going to be anything other than that. Let's do phone call completed again. Status does not exactly match completed. This is for the call not answered path. Test it. It should work for this. Yep. Okay. If the call is not answered, then according to this architecture diagram, we're going to want to call flow one again. So we're going to want to use this. Remember, we use this second part of the portion to trigger flow one. And so we're just going to send another Slack message to do that. Slack, send message, send private channel message, select an account, do Slack, the same one that you used. And we're just going to click on yep, the tutorial one. Pharmacy, MTM, caller bot. Don't attach a link to the Zap, and then we'll test the step. So let's see if it sends in the Slack channel. And it did. Call not answered, calling next number in list. Okay, perfect. So that's the case where the call is not answered. It's basically gonna go to the next active status patient and automatically call that without you having to enter any kind of trigger word or call the lead yourself. Now let's do the completed answer call section. And in this case, we're going to have the Slack bot prompt the user to enter the trigger message when ready. Let's do that. And we have a thing we can copy and paste in here. It's going to say patient reached. So the patient is picked up. Please type ready after you do all your post call actions when you want me to find the next available patient for an MTM call. Go here. Again, it's a Slack message. So let's do that again. Private channel message. Send private channel message. Select the same channel that you want. Message text again. Send as a bot, yes. Name the bot. Don't include a link to the Zap for conciseness. And yeah, let's test it. Now it should send. Yep, patient reached. Please type ready when you want me to find the next available patient for an MTM call. We've basically built both Zapier paths, and I'll demo the completed bot for you now. We're gonna hit publish. It should publish it, and let's do that for the other bot as well. The two things you're gonna need to demo the bot is just the Google Sheets and the Slack channel that you created. And I'm putting them side by side so you can see exactly what's going on. We're just gonna turn these, okay, so yeah, both of these zaps are on, and we can start calling. So now it's time to demo our completed AI outbound phone bot and auto dialer system. First, we want to check if all the Zapier flows are on. Now we can pull up the patient information sheet or whatever Google file that you put in on one side of the screen, as well as the Slack channel on the other side of the screen, just so you know exactly what's going on. One call out here is that so far, the bot is able to send text messages after you book an appointment with it, but it's not able to send the email because we haven't been pulling in the email. So let's just set an email for this. So I've created an email column, and I'm just going to use the same email for testing purposes. And we're going to go back into the first flow where we created the call, edit it real quick, and pass in the email as well. Okay, so we're going to have to pass in cal_email. the same way we passed in patient underscore name. So let's copy and paste that. Go back into Zapier and edit really quick. Configure, yeah. So we're gonna have to pass in another custom variable, and let's go to lookup spreadsheet row, pass in the email, and add that. And cal email, do the colon, and it should work. Yeah, publish it, and we're ready to test. Okay, so for context, I have two phones here. One is Vignesh's phone, and one is my phone. Yeah, let's test the bot. I'm gonna type in hello again, and it's gonna give me this thing. Hello, input not recognized, say ready to start a call. Okay, so I'm gonna click ready, and let's see, the first person that it should call is me. Send that. And for the first one, I'm just gonna let it go to voicemail, and I'm just gonna show you the columns and status updating. So let's see. There we go, it's calling me. I'm gonna just let it go to voicemail. We're gonna watch the status and the transcript columns update, and it should automatically call the next person on the list, skipping Vignesh, because it's not an active status, so it should call me again in a second. So call not answered, calling next number in list. There we go.
Hi, Chancey. This is Anna from Advanced Health Pharmacy. Do you have some time to talk about your medications?
No, I don't have time right now.
No problem. Would you prefer to schedule a call at another time?
Yeah, sure. What times do you have available in the next week?
We have openings on Wednesday, October 2nd, Thursday, October 3rd, and Friday, October 4th. What day works best for you?
Do you have any time on Friday in the morning?
Yes, we have an opening on Friday, October 4th at 9 a.m. Does that work for you?
Do you have anything a bit later than that?
Sure, we also have slots at 12 p.m. and 3 p.m. on Friday. Would either of those times work for you?
Yeah, 12 p.m. works perfectly.
Fantastic. I have scheduled you for Friday, October 4th at 12 p.m. You'll receive an SMS shortly with the appointment confirmation. Have a great day.
Thanks, bye. So there you go. Sent me a text message, confirmation, and now we have to type the trigger word again when we want to have the next available patient for an MTM call. So we're gonna type ready, and it should skip Vignesh again because his has the skip, and it should go directly to active, which is me again. So I'm gonna let it go to voicemail again, and we're gonna watch it update the transcript and the status, and it should call Vignesh's phone now this time, which is the next active status in the list. There you go. Call not answered, calling next number in the list. And this time we're gonna say that we are ready and transfer to the pharmacist, which is my phone. There you go. It's calling Vignesh.
Hi, Vignesh F. This is Anna from Advanced Health Pharmacy. Do you have some time to talk about your medications?
Yeah, I do. I have time. There's classical music. Hello?
Hello?
Hey, this is the pharmacist talking. Do you need to talk about your medications? Yes, I do. So there you go. Transfer function works. Gonna hang up. And we are good on that one. So now that the patient has been reached, again, it's gonna pause, and it's gonna give you a chance to go over post-call actions. And we type ready again, and it should call me because I'm the last active status patient in the list. And I'm just gonna let it go to voicemail again. It should call me. And just let it go to voicemail. So yeah, as you can see, hung up on voicemail, gave the transcript, and that's it. And there are no more active status patients in the list, so it says that just as we programmed in the Zapier flow. Hope you enjoyed the demo, and hope you enjoyed the tutorial as well. I know this has been a long one, but this is extremely valuable if your organization or company does a lot of cold calls. So there you have it. If your business does any sort of outbound calling for sales, patient check-ins, or the like, a tool like this is going to be massively useful for you and your business. Instead of having to sit through the 72% of cold calls that don't even get picked up, you save time by only getting involved with calls that are actually beneficial for you, your business, and the person you're calling. So I hope you enjoyed it, guys. Please share this with other business owners who could benefit from such a system. It'd be fantastic if we can spread the word on exactly what AI can do for small businesses, especially when it's at this early of a stage. The technology is only going to get better, cheaper, and faster. On the off chance you're interested in a custom, more cost-effective solution, I'd be happy to talk to you. Just schedule a call with us using the link below in the description. We'll also be coming up with a demo soon on how to build an inbound voice bot, one that answers incoming phone calls to your business to book appointments, make reservations, and answer general questions, as well as a shorter tutorial on how to pull data that your clients enter onto Google Forms and put it into the Google Sheets list that you used in this demo. So watch out for that. Till next time, I'll see you later and have a fantastic day.